Hey, what's going on, good people? Recently, we've been talking about chord structures and learning chords on the bass. And I know a lot of people say it's a lot of controversy about playing chords on the bass, but trust me, there's tons of benefits to learning chords. You don't have to play all the notes at the same time. You can break them up and try to implement them in certain ways. I'll show you exactly what I mean. Let's go. So what I did there was just demonstrate a few ways you can use chords on the bass and not just playing them as chords. So what I did first in the beginning, I played them as intervals. So those aren't technically chords, but it's two notes played together, so it's some type of harmony. So those are called double stops, mainly played on bass. The great Pino Palladino made it really funky and really famous to play on the bass back in the day, especially his style of playing is amazing. Check him out, Pino Palladino. But anyway, so I played the C major along with the groove. I played the C major interval, which is a major third, but I'm playing the octave of that major third. And if you haven't seen the chords course, please go check it out. The full course is available in the Academy. It's actually being added onto as well, so go check that out. Anyway, so double stop, double stop. So I did, I can't even remember the groove. Something like that. If I don't have it right, you guys can correct me, but you get the gist of it. I'm just making an example. It doesn't have to be the same exact groove, but I'm just implementing it inside of that groove so I can show you there's several ways to play chords, several ways to do it. So the next go round, I actually played the inversion of a C major chord and an inversion of a D major chord. All right, so the first interval was a C and an E on the G string, and the next intervals were the D and the F sharp on the G string as well. So just moving this whole thing a whole step. All right, you can either play that with your first and your third, or your first and your second, or your first and your fourth. It doesn't matter. I would actually recommend you playing them with all four fingers or all different combinations. It really helps the fingering and the dexterity as well. So just experiment playing that with all combinations of fingers. And then here I'm playing thumb and index. All right, so when you're getting into slapping, the slapping region and the slapping world, I'm just playing that. You can actually pick this stuff too. Either way, whatever you're feeling at the time, you can do it. All right, so the next go around, I actually did the intervals, or not the intervals, but the inversions of a D major chord, of a C major chord, sorry, and a D major chord. So inversion of C will be E, G, C, and then a whole step up from that will be for the D major chord. I have F sharp, A, D. Okay. Same thing, I'm moving it a whole step up, the same type of formation, but I'm just thinking about it in a different way. So now my bass note to that is not C to D, it's actually E to F sharp, right? All right, so the notes that I have there, I just said the C major inversion of a triad. So I'm playing the third, first, barring the fifth fret, the G and the C. All right, see that? Then I'm moving that same formation a whole step, 2 frets up. And then I'm continuing with the groove or whatever I'm doing at the time. All right, so those are actual chords. And I talked about inversions, especially of triads in the beginning. There's inversions of different chords, like a dominant 7 chord and 7 chords and all of that good stuff too, and minor chords too. But I'm using them as a major chord. All right, so I'm just using it as an inversion and just adding it into my regimen as far as my slap routine. All right, so that's a way to be creative with playing chords. You don't have to play them just as you don't have to play them just like that all the time, just like pretty chords. You can mess them up, mess around with it, make them sound like arpeggios, but they're really not. They're just triads and an inversion. All right, so you can be creative with that. You don't have to just play the chords or act like you're soloing. So there's different benefits to where chords come into play, especially inversion and learning your fretboard. Now you know exactly what you can play. If you're playing a C major, you have it here, you have it there. So you can mess around with every, if you haven't seen the inversion, I won't go too in depth. I don't want this lesson to be too long, but I'm just showing you some of the examples. I know one of the members asked me, how can I use these chords? Where do I use them at? Just in fills or soloing or something like that. But I'm letting you know that you can use them anywhere. You can break them up and make them sound like a riff, and we'll go over that in another lesson too. Start creating riffs from chords, or from chord structures, and to be able to read them and comprehend exactly what chords you're playing. It'll help you learn your fretboard a lot better.